love stories, don't we? Us humans. It seems to me that the only thing we talk about nowadays is Netflix. And that's full of stories. And what do they always talk about in the past? The Bible. That's full of stories. And when we meet up with our friends, what do? We share stories about our lives. Our lives are stories in themselves. And I think storytelling or telling anecdotes is such a marvellous skill. And if you are capable of telling a good story and other people understanding it clearly, you are brilliant. Your English is marvellous. And this is a skill that we should all try to perfect. If you are good at telling a story, you can do well in a job interview. You can give a presentation. You could even give a lecture about some area of knowledge that you are well read in. You can make friends in a language. That's what you need, isn't it? The ability to tell your story, to connect with other people, to understand their story, and to have a laugh and share things with them. So in this video, I'm going to tell you a story about my life, something that happened to me over the lockdown period. And during this story, you're going to see lots of pop-ups which are related to two particular grammar structures, which I think are really useful, really valuable when it comes to telling a good story. And these structures are the past perfect, which is had plus past participle, and the other structure is would plus infinitive. But put simply, the past perfect is like the past of the past. That's not simple at all. It's like giving background information. It allows you to set the atmosphere, the tone of the story. And then the other structure, would plus infinitive, is like talking about the future, but in the past. So the past of will is actually would. So when we are reporting the past and something that was said about the future, we often use would. For example, I told my mum that I would help her clean her car. I told my mum I would help her clean her car. So keep an eye on these two structures throughout the story. You're going to see lots of pop-ups and also lots of real English vocabulary coming up throughout the story. But without further ado, let's get into the story, which I've entitled The Fridge. And halfway through the story, we're going to take a short break to talk about the Lingoda Language Sprint, which is coming up very soon and will give you the chance to take 3 months of English lessons and then possibly get all of your money back. But let's get going with the story, because it's a bit cold in here. Do you get it? We're in the fridge. It was the last week of March, and Boris Johnson had just announced the first lockdown in the UK. We knew that for the next 2 months or so, we would only be allowed to leave the house for
very limited purposes.
1 form of exercise a day, medical needs, travelling to and from work, only when absolutely necessary, and shopping for basic necessities. So the nation went mental. People started panic buying. They were panic buying. They were selfishly going to the supermarket and stocking up on basic supplies at the expense of other people. So instead of buying 2 tins of beans or 2 toilet rolls, people were buying 40 toilet rolls, 40 tins of beans. The shelves were empty, completely empty. So Marina came up with a plan. If we weren't going to be able to get our usual supplies of fresh fruit and veg, we would have to think outside of the box. So she suggested that we stock up on frozen food, and in particular frozen fruit and veg. And this way, if there wasn't enough fruit and veg available on the shelves in the supermarkets, at least we would have enough in our freezer, which I thought was a fantastic plan. The only problem was my freezer had been frozen over for almost a year, meaning it was frozen shut. You couldn't open it. I had never defrosted a freezer before, but clearly it was time to do that so that we could put Marina's plan into practice. So like any good novice who doesn't know how to do something, I got straight onto Google and looked up how to defrost a freezer. And I found a cracking article by compactappliance.com. Suggestion number 1 on compactappliance.com was unplugging the freezer and waiting for the ice to melt. Good suggestion, but I didn't really have time for that. Time was of the essence. Number 2 on the list suggested using a hairdryer. Now, I'm a metrosexual man, and like any good metrosexual man, I own a hairdryer. So we gave that a go. Now, this was a good method. It was working very well, but it was a bit slow. And like I said, time was of the essence. We had a global pandemic on our hands. We were starving. So we tried some scraping to speed the process along a bit. This was number 7 on compactappliance.com. And they recommended doing it in conjunction with other methods on the list. So I grabbed the biggest knife in the kitchen and I started stabbing away at the freezer. Oh, it was going so well. Marina had the hairdryer, she was melting the ice off, and I was scraping away with the knife. It was just so lovely working together as a team. I could really see a great future for us. Ice was falling off the freezer like an avalanche, and I could finally open one of the drawers that had been frozen shut for over a year. I opened it up, I found some old chicken breasts and a fillet of salmon. I was overjoyed. As we were feeling so excited and accomplished at our great start at the defrosting process, Marina and I took a short break, or a short breather, I could say. While we were standing there looking lovingly into each other's eyes, we heard a strange sound coming from the freezer. It sounded a bit like this. Now, when I got back onto Google and looked up this hissing sound, I quickly realised it was not a good sound, because someone described it as the hiss of death. So within the walls of the fridge and the freezer, there is some gas. I don't know exactly what that gas is, but that gas was seeping out of my freezer into the kitchen, and I had basically murdered my freezer with a large kitchen knife, which really threw a spanner in the works in regards to Marina's fantastic plan of stocking up the freezer with frozen veg. So I rang around some local handymen and fridge experts, and they quickly revealed that my fridge freezer was in fact broken. It was knackered, we could say. They basically told me it would be cheaper to buy a new one than to have it fixed. So we had to order a new fridge. How difficult can it be to order a fridge? I had never done it before, but I'd never defrosted a freezer before, and that went pretty well. All we had to do, in theory, was measure my old fridge, which was still in the kitchen cabinet where it lived, and buy a new fridge of the same dimensions. So we went on Curry's PC World, found a perfectly good fridge freezer of the same dimensions as the one I had just stabbed to death, and Curry's assured me that the new fridge would arrive within 4 days. And in the meantime, Marina and I came up with a temporary solution to keep our refrigerated food cold while we waited for the new fridge. So we had a fridge bag, which was basically a bag for life, and we kept that in the hall outside my flat. And that was for things like milk, vegan meats, and fruit and veg. And then we had the fridge basin, and this was a stroke of pure genius from Marina. Basically a washing up basin filled with ice that we used for storing cheese, hummus, yogurt and other perishables. Genius. And the fridge bag and the fridge basin, they worked just fine. They were slightly inconvenient, having to leave the flat every time you want to make a cup of tea, but we couldn't complain. 4 days later and the delivery man knocked on the door with my new fridge. We were delighted. We welcomed them with open arms and invited them into the flat so they could remove the old fridge, something I'd paid for, and install the new one. The delivery man took one look at my fridge and told me that it was an integrated fridge, and the one that I had ordered was a freestanding fridge. Now, I didn't really know much about fridges at the time. I didn't know there was such thing as an integrated fridge, which is a special kind of fridge which fits into a cabinet. It turned out I had one of those, and I had ordered a freestanding fridge. So they couldn't remove the old fridge because they said they didn't have the appropriate tools to do so, which meant they couldn't install a new fridge because there wasn't any space for it to go, and it wasn't even the right type of fridge to fit into the cabinet. So they just left. And I remained a fridgeless man with two fridges. One that I had stabbed to death and another one that was just unusable. Now, I felt like a bit of an idiot. I had ordered the wrong kind of fridge and I didn't really know what to do, but I didn't want to lose my cool. Marina had just moved in and I had to at least seem like I was a fully functioning adult. So I picked up the phone and called Curry's customer service to see if I could get the new fridge exchanged for an integrated fridge. After a long wait and several short conversations with robots, I finally got through to a real human being who was perfectly kind, but she gave me the bad news that unfortunately I couldn't do an exchange for a new fridge because they had to receive the new fridge back in their warehouse before they could actually refund me the money. Fair enough. So she said I would have to buy an integrated fridge on their website. I couldn't do it over the phone. And she said that she would arrange for the fully boxed new fridge that didn't fit into the cabinet to be picked up. So she did that and she assured me that they would be round. They would be round within 1 week to come and pick up the fridge, and I ordered an integrated fridge from their website. After paying, I was bitterly disappointed or sorely disappointed to realise that the new fridge would take 2 weeks to be delivered. So Marina and I would have to wait 2 more weeks with the fridge bag and the fridge basin and the fully boxed freestanding fridge in the hallway. What a nightmare. And I started wondering why so long? Why would it take so long for them to bring my fridge here? And then I thought, maybe I'm not the only person who's just broken their fridge. Maybe everyone had the same idea as us, tried to defrost their freezer and punctured the wall just like I did. And for that reason, they were so busy sending out new fridges. It's a theory. Anyway, it's not the end of the world. It was okay. We could survive with the fridge basin. And a week later, Team Know-How, which is a team that deal with installation, delivery and pickups, picked up that unused, fully boxed fridge. 1 more week goes by and Team Know-How are back at my flat with my integrated fridge. Finally! Ha ha! So, I finally had my integrated fridge. It was waiting to be installed. And I had 2 fridge installation experts willing to do the job. What could possibly go wrong at this point? So before we get back to that point in the story, I just want to take a short breather because it's bringing up a lot of negative emotions actually. It was a very traumatic time. And I'm going to take the chance during this breather to tell you a little bit about the Lingoda Language Sprint, which challenges you, English learner, to study English every day for 3 months. And then if you complete it, you get all of your money back on top of all that confidence, vocab and fluency that you have built up over those 3 months. So listen up. So if you don't know Lingoda already, I would actually be surprised because we talk about them quite a lot here, but they are an online language learning platform where you can take online lessons with native speaking teachers, normally in small groups of less than 5 people. It's a very reputable company. If you look them up on Trustpilot or Google, they are very, very well reviewed. And I can vouch for this. It's a lovely place to learn languages, and you can tell that the people who made the platform are language enthusiasts. They know how to learn languages and how to do it well. The makers of this platform understand that to get good in a language, you need to spend time on the 4 key skills of language learning. speaking, listening, reading and writing. And through their curriculum, you can work on these 4 skills in a structured but progressive fashion, but also you can choose the topics that you want to study in those lessons. So they clearly understand that teachers can't just tell the students what they need to learn when they're learning a language. It needs to be the student who takes ownership of what it is they're interested in. What areas of vocabulary do they need to get by in life? Like maybe you need to write a letter of complaint.
Today we have a lesson called writing a letter of complaint. Harry, you ever sent a letter of complaint?
I bought a fridge. As you can tell, I've been telling pretty much everyone about this story.
Would you like to choose one of these words and see if you can make an example sentence?
I called up Curry's customer service and I feel the service they gave me was not satisfactory because they were unable to resolve my complaint and I didn't get a refund for my fridge. And I think they owe me compensation as well. Bastards. Sorry.
That's okay, we're all adults.
So it's a great platform. Now I'm going to tell you about the details of the Lingoda Language Sprint. So it starts on January the 15th, 2021, and you need to sign up by December the 28th of 2020. Now they give you 2 different levels of intensity. One is called the Super Sprint and the other is called the Sprint. Here are the details. But the main difference is, with the Super Sprint, you take more lessons and get more of your money back. In fact, you take 1 lesson every single day for 3 months, and if you complete it, you get 100% of your money back. While in the Sprint, the lessons are less frequent, but you can still get 50% of your money back if you complete it, which is very, very generous. Some think it's too good to be true. If you don't believe me, look them up on Trustpilot, on Google, and you'll see tons of happy reviews from satisfied learners of English. You can join the Lingoda Language Sprint in French, German, Spanish, English and Business English. Sign up requires a €49 deposit and each plan will be paid in 3 monthly instalments. But if you use our voucher code WIN17, you'll save €10 on that deposit. Do hurry because places are limited. It's a very competitive thing. A lot of people want to do it. So sign up now if you would like to take part or after this video. Good luck with it. And I look forward to hearing about your experience. Okay, back to the story. Where were we? That was it. We got delivery men at the door. They've got the integrated fridge. They've got the skills. They've got the knowledge. I've paid the money for it to be installed. What could possibly go wrong? So the first thing they did was say, hello. They put my old fridge, which Marina and I had already removed from the cabinet, with great difficulty, by the way. And we then invited them in to install the new integrated fridge. But they both looked at me with a rather perplexed look on their face. And they said, well, we can't come in, mate. Of course. We were 2 weeks into the lockdown. Of course they couldn't come into my flat. Boris had said it. You can't let other people into your flat. Only people from your own household can be in your flat. I only wish Curry's had reminded me of that when I bought the new fridge and paid £85 for its instalment. They were happy to take my £85, weren't they? So no matter how much I tried to bribe them, I offered cooking them a dinner, but they weren't interested. They were clearly law-abiding delivery men. So they left, but at least we had the right kind of fridge. So in theory, if we could get that in the flat, maybe we could actually install it ourselves. How hard can it be? So we unboxed the fridge outside in the hallway, and it was on a polystyrene base, and we used that to slide the fridge in like this. Ideally, we would have had one of these things, but we didn't. We didn't have one, so we just slid it in like this. We tried desperately to get it into that cabinet where the old fridge was, but we couldn't get it in there. It was too heavy. It was too awkward to lift. So to cut a long story short, we couldn't get it in. But my friend, every cloud has a silver lining, right? Every cloud has a silver lining. So what we did was we turned the old fridge cabinet into a cupboard where we keep dry foods like pasta and grains and chocolate. And we put the fridge, which was an integrated fridge, but now we were going to use it as a freestanding fridge. We put that in our small hallway. So at least we could benefit from this new fridge that we had bought. So yeah, it wasn't ideal. You know, you open the front door and the fridge is right in front of you. It's like you walk in and you can just grab an apple like that. Bang, apple. But, you know, we couldn't complain. At least we could actually finally put our refrigerated food from the hallway into the fridge. That was very satisfying. So I know it probably sounds like this is a happy end to the story. Maybe you're thinking the story ends here. But unfortunately, it doesn't. So remember that first fridge that I ordered after I had stabbed the other one? So they picked that one up, took it back to the warehouse, but I never got my money back for it. So Curry still owed me £400. I was £400 out of pocket. Out of pocket, I love that expression. They owed me £400. I had £400 less than before. So I rang Curry's customer service again. 4 calls later and I finally got through to a real human. I told them what happened and asked about my refund, to which they said that they hadn't received the fridge in their warehouse. And I said, well, that's not my issue. Your guys came and picked up the fridge. Surely it's their job to make sure the fridge actually makes it to the warehouse, no? She then added that there was no record of the Team Know-How guys actually coming to my house to pick up the fridge. No record of it, like I'd imagined it. And I didn't have any receipts to show the woman that demonstrated that these guys did in fact come and pick up the fridge from my house. So it was my word against theirs. Again, good expression. My word against theirs, meaning I couldn't prove that they had come to get it. So then she asked me when I made the call to arrange the pickup of that fridge. And I told her the date of that call. She checks that date and guess what? There was no record of it. No record of it. What was going on? So it wasn't looking like I was going to get my money back. For all they knew, I had sold the other fridge and then tried to claim a refund. So I spoke to a manager at Curry's customer service and he recommended that I get in contact with my phone company to get my phone bill so that I can check and try to find the record of that original call I made to Curry's customer service to get that first fridge picked up. He then said I should send that on to Curry's along with any other supporting evidence for my claim. I did exactly that. I found that call in my phone bill. It was a 59-minute call to Curry's customer service. I forwarded it on to the Curry's customer service email. I sent several follow-up emails and I got nothing. Absolutely nothing. So here I am. I've got a fridge standing in my hall and I've got a perfectly good cabinet which I use for dry foods, but I'm still £400 out of pocket. I think I have learned a valuable lesson from what has happened here. In hindsight, I should have asked for an email confirmation for both that call to Curry's customer service when she arranged the pickup and also for the pickup itself. I should have got confirmation and receipt of both of those things. You live and you learn. So my question to you is, what would you do? Or what would you have done in this situation? What is the next step? I don't feel like I can go to the police with it. I don't think they're going to care. They have bigger fish to fry. Good expression. They have more important things to deal with. So I'm kind of alone. I'm not going to hire a detective to try and get my money back. It'll probably cost more than it's actually worth. So yeah, what would you do? I hope you have found this video useful. I hope that watching these pop-ups and the use of would plus infinitive and the past perfect gradually got more and more clear to you as the video went on, or maybe you're already familiar with these structures. I hope, if nothing else, you learn lots of vocabulary and slang throughout this video. Please leave a comment to tell me what you would do in this situation. And remember, check out the Lingoda Language Sprint if you want to build lots of confidence with your English in just 3 months and then potentially get all of your money back. Thank you for watching. Please like this video, subscribe if you haven't already, and see you again soon for another video. Bye for now.